Thank you all for coming. We have a softball game happening tonight and a lacrosse game, and it's beautiful outside. But we are recording this presentation and we'll be sharing it out on our website, maybe via email or when we finish. So more things to look forward to. You can rewatch it with all of our useful information to share. So we're really excited to have you here and share some information about the college application process. These are some of the things that we will be going over today. And I'd like to start off by first a few quick introductions. So my name's Erin, and I'm one of the school counselors here.
I'm Randy Sweeney. I'm also one of the school counselors here.
And I'm Maggie Pointhub, another school counselor.
And on our slide, we do have a picture of Jen Schaub, and Miss Jen, she's our registrar and college planning coordinator. We also have some college admission representatives here today from Dartmouth College, Middlebury, Vermont State University, the University of New Hampshire, and the University of Vermont. We'll have an opportunity for them to introduce themselves and answer some questions that we've collected a little bit later in this presentation. So one of the questions we hear a lot is like, what should I be doing right now? Maybe it's my junior year of high school, my student's a junior. How can I support them in thinking about what comes next, especially in this world of college? Maybe it feels a little overwhelming, but we're here to support you through it all. One thing I would encourage you all to keep in mind is that there are so many different colleges and universities. There's a school out there for anyone. And there's also lots of pathways to get to college. Maybe you go right after high school or embark on a gap year adventure. Maybe you take a couple of classes at a community college or 2 years at a community college and matriculate to a 4-year university. So there's a lot of flexibility to adapt to where you are. But bringing us back to the question, what are some things that we could be doing right now? Well, earlier this year, we did meet with all of our rising seniors to pick out courses for next year, making sure you're fulfilling all of your graduation requirements. And we chatted a little bit about the opportunity to apply to an early college program, which students can still do, by the way, or how you can utilize your 2 dual enrollment vouchers, like 2 coupons to take 2 Vermont college classes. Maybe that's something you want to incorporate into your schedule next year, or something you want to do over the summer. Other things that you might want to consider doing right now is thinking about what's important to you in a college experience. What are the characteristics of the school that you're looking for? Do you want to be in an urban environment, or is maybe something a little suburban more your vibe? Do you want a big school, a small school, really awesome study abroad options, maybe a really unique internship program? But starting to do some exploration around what's important to you can then help inform your college search. And a great way to do that, if you have the means and ability, is to go on college visits. And we have some really great schools that are right here in Vermont, and a few representatives here today, or in our neighboring states, where you can visit and start to identify what are some of those things that you're looking for. Maybe a good thing that came out of our COVID experience was an expanded virtual offerings of colleges and universities. There's a lot of online tours and videos you can watch. So even if actually going to visit a campus might be a little bit more challenging to figure out how to do, check out some of their virtual offerings or their YouTube page or social media, and you can kind of get a sense there as well. Another good thing to be thinking about, especially if you're a rising senior, is who of your 2 teachers you might ask to write you a letter of recommendation. We often encourage students to identify 2 teachers to write a letter. That request you may make that of your teacher sometime this year or in the fall. That's something your school counselor can also help you think about, but it is something that you can start pondering as we near the end of this school year. Another thing I want to encourage you to do is to keep an eye out for our ELO offerings. We're offering a number of series. There's a flyer on the table in the back talking about how to build a college list, a general overview of the admission process. There's even going to be an ELO series on writing your personal essay. So lots of options for you to kind of start to do this work as you think about what's ahead. So who does what and how do we support you? A way that I like to think about the college admission process is that the student is navigating this shift. This is your journey and your responsibility. And you have a bunch of deckhands who are able to help you change the sails and navigate, avoid any icebergs along the way. The people who are here to support you through this process, students, are your parents and your school counselors. We're here to help you navigate, but it's really, I want to empower our young people to really take ownership over this process. It's about your next step in your journey. As students taking the charge in all of this, you can make appointments to meet with us to work through this process. You can register to take the SATs if that's something that you would like to do. You can ask teachers for letters of recommendation. You'll maintain a list of schools that you want to apply to. You'll probably have a fair amount of writing to do, whether it's a personal essay or some optional essay questions. And you'll have some forms to fill out so we can make sure we send your transcript to all the right places. And parents, and guardians, what you can do to support this process is to register for a Naviance account. I'll tell you more about Naviance later, but this should be a tool that your student is somewhat familiar with already. You can help your student by attending college visits and filling out financial aid forms, assist in conversations about college costs, and offer them support with their applications. And as I said before, as school counselors, we're here to guide you and offer any advice that we can, answer any questions, help filling out forms, or often pointing you in the direction of someone who might be better able to answer that question, like directly to a college admission counselor.
Me.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk a little bit about Naviance. We could do a whole presentation on it, so I'm going to kind of walk you through it kind of quickly. So Naviance is an online platform that helps students prepare for college and career. So it's not just, people think of it as only a vehicle to apply to college, but there's a lot of things that you can use that help explore career options. It's also the tool that the school counseling office uses to manage the college application process. So you can find Naviance on the Harwood website, and if you go to the website, there's tabs on the top, and under the student tab, you'll find Naviance. All students and parents and caregivers have a Naviance account. Like Erin mentioned, all current juniors should have already logged into Naviance. We worked with them in their TAs and also in some ELOs. So they should have been in it and hopefully started to familiarize themselves with the platform. But parents, you also, and caregivers, you also have an account. And if you want to know how to log in, you can just email your school counselor, your child's school counselor, and we can send you a registration link. Let's see. So when you go into Naviance, this is what it's going to look like. This is sort of the home page. This is Erin's home page. Sorry. No, that's okay. So when you go into Naviance, you'll see there are these tabs up here at the top. And I'm just going to go through them kind of quickly. The first tab is self-discovery, and that's where students can find some tools to help them explore their interests, their values, and ultimately some careers that match those interests and values. There are 3 tools, the Career Cluster Finder, the Career Interest Profiler, and the Strengths Explorer. They all sort of ask different types of questions, but the goal of all of them is to help students or match students with either careers or career clusters and help them explore pathways within those careers or career clusters. And for students who are thinking about college or know that they're college bound, it's also a way to help you think about majors, right? So if you're thinking about a career, then that's going to connect to a major that you might want to pursue in college. Let's see. So once you do some of those assessments or interest profiler type things, you can go to the next tab, which says careers. And there's lots of different ways to explore the careers that Naviance has matched you with. One of the really cool things in that tab is called Road Trip Nation. And students can watch videos. I think there's over 9,000 videos of people in different careers. They're really short. They're only a few minutes talking about these careers. So it's just another way to learn more about certain careers. So Erin talked a little bit about starting to think about what characteristics might be important to you in a college. And that's probably a really hard question to answer at this point. So like she mentioned, going to visit schools is a great way to start to gain a better understanding of what you might like, what you might not care about, what you might not like. But another way to do this is to use the tool in Naviance under colleges. The one that we really like is called Supermatch. And so in Supermatch, students choose characteristics that are important to them. So like location or size of a school or majors that they might have. And you can get really specific in it, about what clubs they might offer, what the diversity profile is. So there's lots of different things that students can identify as characteristics that are important to them. And then Naviance matches colleges to the characteristics that a student has chosen and gives you a list. No, I think you're good. So once students do that and start doing some research, they can start to create a list of schools. And Naviance holds that list for them. And a really easy way to start to create that list is when they're looking at schools, clicking on there's like a little heart icon. I don't think we have a picture of that window, but there's a little heart icon next to the school. So if they're reading about it and it looks interesting, click the heart icon and that will start to create an ongoing list. So in Naviance, each school has a page with tons of information about them, including a link to their actual website. So this is showing the admissions section of the University of Vermont's page on Naviance. And as you can see, it tells you when the next application deadline is, how much it costs to submit an application, what the acceptance rate is, and some important policies. But each tab is going to give you different information and really valuable information.
All right, so we obviously use Naviance here and we really enjoy it, but there are other ways to search for colleges. And there's many, many different college search websites. Students find that they like some of these other ones more than Naviance, and it's perfectly fine to use them. Big Future is from the College Board, and Niche students really like because it gives a lot of student perspectives on colleges, so they get firsthand information about what colleges are like. So anything that your student wants to use is great, and we don't really, they all sort of use the same sort of like characteristics to figure out what you like about colleges. So we get a lot of questions about standardized testing. Most colleges are going to be test optional for next year. There are some schools who have gone back to saying that testing is required, but it's pretty easy to find on any admissions website whether that's something that they are going to require or not. We are offering the SAT here on May 6th, so if anyone wants to sign up, they still can. You might have to pay lately, but we still have room if you want to take it here. And then the next one will be June 3rd. So you would just go onto the College Board website and you would sign up through them. Typically, students, so all of our juniors have the opportunity to take the PSAT in the fall. And then most juniors will take the SAT in the spring, see how they do. And if they want to take it again, they'll take it in early fall. But you can take it as many times as you want. And so it's really up to you whether or not that's something you want to do. They do offer, there is another test called the ACT. We don't offer that here, but you're also welcome to take that. There's an offering on June 10th if you wanted to take the ACT. It's not here.
There used to be a time when the ACT and SAT were pretty different, but now the tests are more similar. The largest difference being the ACT has a science section.
So have most people heard of BSAC, or is this a new? How many people have heard of BSAC? So back in 1965, the Vermont legislature created BSAC as a nonprofit organization to help families and students and people figure out how to access and pay for education. It's a really great organization. We had some pamphlets in the back, but they have lots of assistance with figuring out finances and things like that for college. On May 4th, we're having another night here with BSAC to talk about how to figure out how to pay for college. That's a whole nother topic. So we would love for you all to come. We have a really awesome BSAC specialist, Ellen Magnato, who will be here to present that night. At this point in time, all juniors have received their college transcripts. If sophomores want to see them, we are happy to give them to sophomores as well. This is what our Harwood transcript looks like. So each student will have their core scores listed here. So freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, senior year, core scores will show up here. When you apply for college in the fall, it'll say what classes you're taking, but your scores probably won't be in there until the mid-year if you've taken semester-long classes. And then down here, we have our learning expectation scores, so those are on the bottom. And then if your student takes any sort of flexible pathway, which is like a dual enrollment class or an online class, these classes tend to go in this section. Does anyone have questions about our transcript?
If your student takes Governor's Institute in the summer, is that going to be helping theirs?
Yeah, if they take the Governor's Institute for college credit, then we would put it on the transcript under the flexible pathways. If they're just doing the Governor's Institute as an experience, then it's something they typically put in their activities section of their college listing for college application.
Not all Governor's Institutes offer the college credit option. It's just two of them.
All right, so has anyone heard of the Common App? Good. So the Common App links to Naviance, so it's very convenient for us to use here in the school. There are other ways to apply to colleges. Some colleges will have their own application. Some colleges will use something called the Coalition application. You can use any of those applications. It's totally fine. But the Common App is the one that is easy for us to connect with Naviance. So we usually promote this one. But really, you can use any of them, and we can send your stuff to colleges in any sort of way. So the Common App is just commonapp.org. It's one central website where you fill out the main body of your application, your essay or activities, your personal information. And then each of the colleges will have their own section on it where you'll fill out questions for them. Things like that. It doesn't actually open until August 1st for next year. So, can't really go on it yet, but you can look up, what are the essay questions going to be and things like that. So you can see what it's going to ask you. You just can't start filling it out yet. One of the things that we send to colleges, we get a lot of questions about how do colleges understand our grading system and how do they know what kind of activities we have. So we send something called a school profile along with your application. And so this is what our school profile looks like for the current class, the current senior class. Each year we update it with, so next year we'll update it with the current junior class's information, and it will get sent out with their applications to colleges. So this gives colleges information about our proficiency-based system. It talks about just about our community as a whole. It talks about the SAT scores and where our students fall within Vermont and national, and then gives percentiles of where students fall within our grading system for the class. Talks about our graduation requirements and some exciting things about Harvard in that. And then the bottom talks about where our previous class is accepted to colleges. Anyone have questions about this?
There is a copy of the school profile on the Harwood website if it's something that you want to read more thoroughly.
So we put a lot of information out there. Obviously, you guys got it, so that's great. We have a website where we post lots of events and upcoming information. The Harwood Instagram is updated with lots of good stuff. And then most of the things that we do goes out in the family newsletter that we get. We do have a college planning guide that's on our website. This gives sort of a step-by-step process of all the things we talked about tonight in one sort of document. So that can be a good resource as well. Oh, we have a lot of upcoming ELOs. So ELOs are our extended learning opportunities here at Harwood. We have a lot of things coming up where students can learn more about the college process. We can help you build your list. We're talking about resume building. We're going to do some of those interest surveys that Randy talked about. We have a job fair coming up. And then lots of information about apprenticeships and gap years and those types of things as well. There is an ELO series starting next week about writing your college essay. So if students want to do that, they have to sign up, and they do it every week for the rest of the school year and work on your essay with 2 of our English teachers. And then our panel could come up.